The Old Man at the Border. A gentle bedtime story inspired by Saiweng Shima. In a quiet village near the northern border of ancient China, there lived an old man named Saiweng. His home stood at the edge of a wide grassland where the wind moved gently across the earth like a soft hand brushing over silk. Beyond the grassland were distant mountains, blue in the morning and purple at sunset. Wild horses often ran there, free and strong, their manes dancing in the wind. Saiweng lived with his only son Liang. Their house was small, but peaceful. It had a wooden gate, a stone path, a vegetable garden, and a stable beside the yard. Every morning before the sun had fully risen, Saiweng would step outside, breathe in the cool air, and listen to the quiet sounds of the world waking up. The rooster would call from a neighbor's yard, the leaves would whisper in the trees, the horses would shift gently in the stable, and far away across the borderland, the wind would sing its endless song. Saiweng was not rich, but he was content. He had a few fields, a few animals, and enough food for each season. More importantly, he had a calm heart. The villagers often came to him for advice because he was known to be wise. But Saiweng never spoke too quickly. He never rushed to judge whether something was good or bad. When people came to him with worries, he would listen quietly. Then he would smile and say, "Life is long. What seems bad today may bring something good tomorrow. What seems good today may carry a hidden lesson." Some people understood him. Others thought he was strange. One autumn morning, the sky was clear, and the grass shone with drops of dew. Saiweng's son, Liang, opened the stable gate to let their horse drink water near the stream. The horse was strong and beautiful with a dark brown coat and bright eyes. This horse was very important to the family. It helped them carry wood, travel to the market, and work in the fields. But that morning, something unexpected happened. A sudden sound came from the distance. Perhaps it was a wild animal. Perhaps it was only the wind shaking dry branches. No one knew. But the horse lifted its head, became frightened, and ran. Liang shouted, "Come back!" He ran after it, but the horse was too fast. It galloped across the field, past the village road, and toward the far northern hills. Soon, it disappeared beyond the border. By afternoon, the whole village had heard the news. Neighbors came to Saiweng's house, one by one. "Oh, Saiweng," one woman said sadly, "your horse has run away. What terrible luck." Another neighbor shook his head. "That horse was worth so much. How unfortunate." Liang stood beside his father, looking ashamed and upset. "I should have closed the gate sooner," he said. But Saiweng only looked toward the distant hills. His face was calm. He said softly, "Perhaps it is bad luck. Perhaps it is good luck. Who can know?" The neighbors looked at one another. "How can losing a horse be good luck?" someone whispered. But Saiweng did not argue. He simply thanked them for their concern and returned to his work. That night Liang could not sleep. He lay on his bed listening to the wind outside. "Father," he said quietly, "are you not sad about the horse?" Saiweng sat near the window mending an old rope. "I am sad," he said gently, "but sadness does not need to become despair. We lost a horse today, that is true, but we do not yet know the whole story." Liang turned over and looked at his father. "The whole story?" Saiweng nodded. "Yes. Life is like a river. When we stand at one bend, we cannot see where the water will go next." Liang did not fully understand, but his father's voice was soothing. Slowly, his eyes grew heavy, and he fell asleep. Days passed. The village continued its usual life. Farmers worked in the fields. Children played near the wells. Women washed clothes by the stream. Smoke rose from cooking fires in the evening. Saiweng and Liang worked harder without the horse. They carried wood by hand and walked long distances to the market. It was not easy, but they managed. Then one morning, just as the sun was rising, Liang heard a sound outside. It was the sound of hooves. He opened the door and froze. There, standing near the gate, was their lost horse. But it was not alone. Behind it stood several wild horses from the northern grassland. They were tall, powerful, and beautiful, with shining coats and alert eyes. They had followed the lost horse back to Saiweng's home. Liang shouted with joy, "Father, come quickly." Sai Wing stepped outside and saw the horses. He looked at them for a long moment. Soon the neighbors gathered again. "What wonderful luck," one man cried. "You lost one horse and now you have many." "You are rich now," another said. "This is a blessing," said an old woman. "Heaven has rewarded you." Liang was smiling from ear to ear. He could hardly believe it. But Sai Weng remained calm. He gently touched the neck of the horse that had returned. Then he said, "Perhaps it is good luck. Perhaps it is bad luck. Who can know?" The villagers were surprised. "How can this be bad luck?" someone asked. "You now have more horses than anyone in the village." Sai Wing smiled, but he said nothing more. Over the next few days, Liang worked hard to care for the new horses. He fed them, brushed them, and slowly began to train them. Among the wild horses there was one young stallion with a silver-gray coat. It was the most beautiful horse Liang had ever seen. Its eyes were bright like stars, and its body was strong like the mountain wind. But it was also wild and difficult to control. Liang was young, brave, and proud. He wanted to ride the silver horse more than anything. His father warned him, "Be patient. A wild horse does not become gentle in one day." But Liang believed he could handle it. One afternoon when the sky was golden and the village was quiet, Liang placed a saddle on the silver horse. At first the horse stood still. Liang smiled, climbed onto its back, and took the reins. For a moment everything seemed fine. Then suddenly the horse jumped. It reared up, kicked its front legs high into the air, and bolted across the yard. Liang held on tightly, but the horse was too strong. It twisted its body and threw him to the ground. He landed hard. A sharp pain shot through his leg. Sai Weng ran to him. Liang's face was pale. "Father," he whispered, "I cannot move my leg." The village doctor was called. He examined Liang carefully and shook his head. "The leg is broken," the doctor said, "and he must rest for many months." The neighbors came again, full of pity. "Oh, poor Liang," said one woman. "What terrible misfortune," said another. "The wild horses brought bad luck after all." Someone else sighed. "First you lost your horse, then you gained many horses, and now your son is hurt. Life is cruel." Sai Weng sat beside his son's bed. He placed a warm cloth over Liang's leg and spoke calmly. "Perhaps it is bad luck. Perhaps it is good luck. Who can know?" This time even Liang felt confused. "Father," he said weakly, "my leg is broken. How could this be good?" Sai Weng looked at him with kindness. "My son, I do not say that pain is good. Pain is pain. But we still do not know what this pain may prevent, or what it may teach." Liang closed his eyes. He was angry with himself. He was ashamed that he had not listened. For many days he said very little. But as weeks passed, his heart began to soften. Because he could not work in the fields, he spent more time with his father. Sai Weng taught him how to repair tools, how to read the weather, how to care for animals gently, and how to sit quietly without always needing to do something. At first Liang was restless. He wanted to run again. He wanted to ride again. He wanted his life to return to normal. But slowly he began to notice small things. He noticed the morning sunlight on the wall. He noticed how tea leaves opened in hot water. He noticed how his father never complained, even when work was difficult. One evening Liang said, "Father, I used to think strength meant moving fast and proving myself, but now I think strength may also mean waiting." Sai Weng smiled. "That is a good lesson," he said. Winter came. The fields became quiet. Frost touched the rooftops in the early morning. The horses breathed clouds into the cold air. Families gathered around warm fires at night. Then one day riders from the army arrived in the village. Their armor was dusty, and their faces were serious. A war had begun near the northern border. Every healthy young man in the village was ordered to join the army. Fear spread quickly. Mothers wept. Fathers stood silently. Young men packed their belongings with heavy hearts. The soldiers came from house to house, writing down names. When they reached Sai Weng's home, they saw Liang lying on his bed with his broken leg. The officer looked at him and said, "This young man cannot march. He cannot serve." And so, Liang was left at home. Many other young men were taken away. The village became quieter after that. There were fewer voices in the streets, fewer footsteps in the fields, fewer young men laughing by the river. Months passed. News from the war was painful. Many soldiers did not return. Some were injured. Some were lost far from home. The villagers who had once pitied Sai Weng now came to him with tears in their eyes. "You were right," one neighbor said. "Your son's broken leg saved his life." "What we thought was bad luck became good luck," said another. Sai Weng looked at Liang, who was now healing slowly. Then he said, "Perhaps it is good luck. Perhaps it is bad luck. Who can know?" The neighbors were silent. This time they did not laugh. They did not argue. They began to understand. Life was not as simple as it appeared. A loss could open a door. A gift could carry danger. A painful moment could protect someone from something worse. And a blessing could become a challenge that taught patience and humility. After the war ended, the village slowly began to heal. Some families welcomed sons home. Some families mourned. The fields were planted again. The stream continued to flow. Spring returned with green leaves and soft rain. Liang's leg healed, though not perfectly. He walked with a slight limp, but he was alive. And he was different. He no longer rushed into danger to prove his courage. He no longer believed that every desire must be followed immediately. He had learned to listen, to wait, and to respect the hidden turns of life. One morning, he walked with his father to the edge of the grassland. The horses grazed quietly in the distance. The silver horse stood beneath a tree, calm now, no longer wild in the same way. Liang looked at it and smiled. "I used to think that horse ruined my life," he said. Sai Weng looked at him. "And now?" Liang thought for a moment. "Now I think it changed my life." Sai Weng nodded. "That is often how wisdom arrives," he said. "Not as something we choose, but as something life gives us." The wind moved across the grass. Liang looked toward the far mountains. "Father," he asked, "should we never call anything good or bad?" Sai Weng smiled gently. "We may feel joy when good things happen. We may feel sorrow when painful things happen. That is natural. But we should not let the first feeling become the final truth." Liang listened carefully. His father continued, "When the horse ran away, we felt loss. When the horses returned, we felt joy. When your leg broke, we felt pain. When the soldiers came, we felt relief. Each moment was real, but none of them was the whole story." Liang nodded slowly. "The whole story takes time." "Yes," Sai Weng said, "and sometimes, even after many years, we still do not know the whole story. That is why we must live with humility." That evening, the village gathered for a small festival. Lanterns were lit. Bowls of soup were shared. Children ran through the square holding paper birds. The old people sat together and talked under the moon. Someone asked Sai Weng to tell the story of the horse again. He did. He spoke of the horse that ran away, the wild horses that returned, the broken leg, and the soldiers who came. The villagers listened quietly. When he finished, the youngest child asked, "So was the horse running away good or bad?" Everyone smiled. Sai Weng leaned down and said, "It was the beginning of a story." The child looked puzzled, but comforted. Sai Weng looked around at the faces of his neighbors. Then he said, "When something difficult happens, do not lose hope too quickly. When something wonderful happens, do not become careless. Life moves like clouds across the sky. What appears dark may bring rain that helps the flowers grow. What appears bright may still ask us to walk carefully." The moon rose higher. The night became soft and deep. Families returned to their homes, doors closed gently, fires burned low. The horses slept in the stable. The grassland rested beneath the stars. Inside their small house, Liang prepared tea for his father. He moved slowly because of his leg, but he did not complain. Sai Weng took the cup with both hands. "Thank you, my son," he said. Liang sat beside him. For a while, neither of them spoke. They listened to the quiet sounds of the night. At last, Liang said, "Father, I think I understand now. We cannot control everything, but we can choose how we meet what comes. Sai Weng's eyes softened. Yes, he said, that is enough wisdom for one lifetime. Outside, the wind passed gently over the roof. The village slept. The mountains stood in silence. And somewhere beyond the border, under the same wide sky, wild horses still ran freely across the moonlit grass. Their hooves touched the earth like a quiet heartbeat. Not good, not bad, simply part of the long, unfolding story of life. And so, when you face a day that feels heavy, remember the old man at the border. When something is lost, do not believe too quickly that all is lost. When something arrives, receive it with gratitude, but also with care. When your path changes, walk slowly. When your heart worries, breathe gently. For life is wider than one moment, deeper than one fear, and kinder than we can sometimes see. The story is still unfolding. And tonight, as the world grows quiet and your eyes become heavy, you do not need to know every answer. You only need to rest. Let the day go. Let the thoughts soften. Let your breath become calm. Like the grass beneath the moon, like the horses beneath the stars, like the old man who understood that every moment is only one page in a much larger story. Sleep peacefully now. The night is safe, and tomorrow the story will continue.